Welcome to the Songwriter Connection, the podcast that delves deep into the art and heart of songwriting. Each week, we gather around the dining room table to uncover the stories behind the songs. We invite you to join us on a journey to the creative minds of the songwriters who shape the melodies of our lives. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenahan.
I'm so glad you joined us once again for the Songwriter Connection podcast. We are calling this episode 225. And if you keep track of those things and the dates, you might be going, huh? Didn't we just listen to 219? Yeah, you did. And it gets all, as my wife Patty says, cattywampus from time to time because we're adding new artists and songwriters in all the time. And we booked a couple of good ones recently, and I wanted to get them in so we can promo shows they've got coming up. So the day you listen to this is definitely going to be August the 6th, okay? And my guest, she's just amazing. I can't wait for you to make a connection with this lovely lady. But first, I want to tell you about, I've had a great week this week. I played at Randy's Revival at Cambria, which is one of my favorite songwriting venues to play. Great sound and everything. And last night, well, I'm still buzzing about this, folks, because once again, I got a chance to play the Bluebird Cafe. And of all the shows I've done there, this one was extra special because, let me tell you, it was with the Three of Hearts, who are Kim McLean, who's a hit songwriter, one of my favorite ladies, and Eve Sellis and Randy Driscoll, and all three of them together call themselves the Three of Hearts. And occasionally when I get to play, it's Three of Hearts and a Joker. I'll let you figure out who the Joker is. But it was a fantastic night, and making it more special even, I asked my father, who just turned 90, his birthday was coming up, and I said, what would you like for your birthday? And he said, I'll tell you what, you book another Bluebird show and invite the Three of Hearts, I'll fly up, and that's good enough for me. And I said, well, Dad, I'll ask them. They're very busy, but they were able to do that, and it was just an incredible night. Now, I tell you all of this because my guest today has kind of a similar situation coming up with two amazing shows where she's going to tribute her mom turning 100. My guest is the lovely, the extremely talented singer, songwriter, producer, artist, actress. She does it all. Deborah Allen is with me on the phone. Hi, Deborah. How are you?
Hey, Dave. Wow. Thank you so much for having me on your show. And I loved hearing about your night at the Bluebird. That sounds like a great night.
I'm sure you've been there a few times, huh?
Oh, yeah, I sure have. It's always a great place to play.
I think I saw you there one time in the round, and it was an amazing night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's never dull at the Bluebird. It's always fun.
It is always amazing, isn't it? And it always sells out in like 2 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's like the Songwriters Grand Ole Opry or something, you know?
Yes. Well, you know, it's funny you say that because we always say the Mother Church of Country is the Ryman, and I would think that the Mother Church of Songwriting has got to be the Bluebird, right? Would you agree?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Hey, and speaking of the Opry, it turns 100 this year, and you've got a show coming up at the Opry. Tell me about this.
I'm so excited about it. You know, Grandpa Jones was the first person to introduce me on the Grand Ole Opry.
Was he?
And then it was
I loved him.
No.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Grandpa Jones, and it was Porter Wagner, and
wow.
you know, just wonderful people. Long time. I've been doing the Opry off and on for a long time, but I was so excited. It just dawned on me, hey, the Grand Ole Opry is 100 years old,
yeah.
and my mother, this is her 100th year. And so, you know, I thought, you know, I've been celebrating her birthday all this year. That just the way the Opry has.
Yes.
They don't just celebrate it one day; they celebrate the whole year. So that's what we've been doing.
Gotcha.
And they've invited me to come and perform. Thanks to Gina Keltner at the Grand Ole Opry.
Mm-hmm.
When she realized this was my mother's 100th year, she invited me to come and make a special performance, and we're going to be honoring Mother at the Grand Ole Opry.
You're going to bring her up on the stage into the circle and everything?
Oh, yeah. She'll be standing right there in the circle. It's going to be great.
How amazing. You know, I saw a video recently where she was talking about these shows that you got coming up, and I got to tell you, she's just beautiful at 100. I mean, beautiful. I mean,
thank you so much.
Yeah,
she is.
Passed that on to you, huh? Yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, you know, she and I are kind of like two peas in a pod, but she's a phenomenon. She really is. She's just got a bright spirit. Just always loved music, and all my friends loved hanging out with her and everything. So, I'm just so blessed to still have her with me and still having fun.
Yes, you are. I feel blessed too. It just really is. You've got another show. Was it Franklin Theater a couple days later?
Yes, her actual birthday. Yeah, because the Opry show, the Opry show is on Thursday, the 21st of August, and then the Franklin Theater show is on her actual birthday, which is August the 23rd, and so her birth year is 1925. It's so neat. I mean, it's going to be a great show. I mean, of course, I'm going to be performing, but I'm going to have a 2-3 surprise guests too that are going to add a lot of fun to the show and great songs too. And so, like I said, we could be there all night long singing if I invited everybody that knows and loves my mother. Yeah, because she just loves everybody.
I think that's fantastic. So your mom's birthday's the 23rd. Mine's the 22nd. So happy birthday to me too.
Hey, no, wait a minute. Why haven't I filled the 22nd?
Why not?
I mean, that's so neat about your daddy being 92.
God bless
I remember when you told me about your dad turning 90, I said, oh, yeah, I remember 90 with Mother. Yeah. Tell your daddy that tell him, ain't nothing but a piece of cake. It's going to be fun. 90's great, and 100's going to be even better.
Deborah, can I write that in my hook book?
You sure can.
Nothing but a piece of cake. I love that. That's great.
I learned that from a piano mover that I said, can you get this piano up these stairs? And he says, ain't nothing but a piece of cake. Ain't nothing but a piece of cake.
I love it. That's fantastic. Well, folks, if you're not familiar, let me tell you a little bit about our guest today, Deborah Allen. She is an amazing artist and songwriter. She had a lot of big hits. And I remember the duets with Jim Reeves, which were incredible. I played Baby I Lied probably, I don't know, maybe I know you were in the Millionaire Club a few million times for that one. I'm probably responsible for at least 1,000 of them.
I know. I want to thank you for that. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Absolutely love that song. Still to this day, one of my favorite songs. But probably overlooked is your songwriting abilities. You've had so many hits with so many different artists, and I wonder if folks realize that you've had hits with Brooks and Dunn, LeAnn Rimes, Patty Loveless, who we're going to talk about, Conway. And we only need to say Conway, right?
Exactly.
Tanya Tucker. I love Janie Fricke. I remember interviewing her a few times in the radio days. Loved her. John Conlee. Also, though, Isaac Hayes, Dinah Ross, Sheena Easton, and even Fleetwood Mac. That's crazy. That's awesome.
It's been wonderful. It really has. It truly has. And everybody, if I'd raved about everybody, as you said, you wouldn't have been able to get a word in because I love everybody that you mentioned.
Well, nobody likes to hear me anyway. You could get all the words in you want. I swear.
Aww.
Yeah. And the other cool things, I want to just mention some things that I found digging about you. You recorded a song that Prince wrote. And if you're looking for the credits on this song, you're not going to see Prince on it. It was Johnny Coco. That's got to be
Joey
cool.
Coco.
It's
Joey Coco.
Oh, Jelly
the way
Coco.
That happened. Yeah, actually, he wrote that song especially for me.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. I was right around the time of the big country pop crossovers, and Baby I Lied had done so well on all of the charts.
Yeah, it crossed over big time. Yeah.
Yeah, AC pop and everywhere, and so they decided to officially switch me over to the pop roster. And, that wasn't my idea, but I thought, well, if that's what they want me to do, I'll try to rise to the occasion. So I was recording in LA at Sunset Sound, which is like a compound and it's built around the basketball court. And that's where I met Prince. I met him shooting hoops one night. And I mean, he literally only said 2 words to me. I was like, oh, no, I said, I like your outfit. Yeah, because he was
kind of shy, wasn't he?
Wow.
Yeah,
he was. He was a sharp dressed man, and he looked over at me and goes, "Likewise." That's all he said to me.
Wow.
But we went in. I went in, and they gave me they had an executive changeover, and the new executives were like kind of sort of grading my paper, deciding what they wanted to do with me out there, and they said, well, we love what you're doing, so cut a couple more things. I think we can run with this. So on my flight back home, I said, when I got home to my kitchen, I just said, God, please help me know what to do. Help me. And all of a sudden it was like, well, Prince, you met one of the geniuses of our time. So I just sat there and wrote him a letter and told him what was going on, and, you know, that it would be merely wonderful if we could work together in some capacity. And to show you how long ago it was, I said, I'm sending you a cassette of my current works to give you an idea. And I sent it to the studio, and I knew his engineer, Coke Johnson. And a few days later, Coke Johnson called me back and said, hey, Deb, Coke Johnson. I said, hey, Coke. And he said, hey, I'm sitting here with a song Prince wrote for you for your new project. I went, you're kidding me, really? Yeah. He said, yeah. And I said, oh, come on, Coke. Is this really a song that he wrote for me, or is this one of his songs? Either way, it would be great. But I just wanted to know. And he goes, no, he wrote it for you. I was in the studio when he wrote it for you.
Especially for you. Well, you got to record that then, right? You know? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He produced it on me, too. Yeah.
That's great. Why jelly? Why did he put jelly cocoa?
Joey. No, it was Joey. Joey.
Oh, Joey. Oh, yeah. Well,
Joey Coco.
Joey. That's okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I said. It's the phone. Sometimes you don't, you know. But he, why would he change his name? I don't get it.
I don't know. I think he was I really don't know. I should ask him. Yeah. I swear I should know. I think, though, remember Prince was going through a lot of different things about, his artistry and the record labels and stuff. So maybe it had something to do with that.
Maybe it was. Because for a while, he was the artist with no name, right? He was just a symbol. So maybe it had something to do with that.
Exactly.
You never know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Ankh.
Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, one of my all-time favorite movies is A Thing Called Love. And I bet you I've seen that 10 times. And what I loved about that movie is it all happened around the Bluebird, with Katie Oslin playing the owner. And you were in that movie, huh?
I was in that movie. Don't blink or you might not see me, but I was out in L.A. for 2 weeks, and there was this huge rainstorm, and we were going out to the King Ranch to film, but we could never get out there to do it. But we finally got out there, and it was really cold. Yeah, and I walk on stage, and they announce my name, and I walk on stage. You see me walk on stage. Then you hear me singing, and then you see me walking off stage, and another artist walking on going, great job. And I go, thank you. So it wasn't a huge role, but it was great because I really did get to know River Phoenix and a lot of the actors and actresses on it. And the other thing, I wanted to interject a minute ago, but I didn't. It's funny that you brought that up because I was thinking about the Bluebird in that movie. I remember walking into a Hollywood soundstage, and they had replicated the exact Bluebird for one of the scenes. Now, some of it they actually shot here in Nashville, but some of those Bluebird scenes were a set that, identically replicated.
It's kind of what they did with the Nashville TV show, didn't they? Some of them filmed here, but they had a studio where they built a replica of the inside. Isn't that?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine owns the mansion that the older female star in that, her character lived in, and it's so big, it's so huge. But I think she sold it, but
was that Katie Oslin?
An amazing place. No, that wasn't Katie Oslin.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm talking about the Nashville.
The Nashville. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a beautiful home. Oh my. Wow.
Fantastic. Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, my friends that had that house, they invented the credit card slide. So every time you use your credit card, they make a penny.
You sometimes see these big houses and you go, "What do these people do?"
I know, but you know what? And unfortunately, somehow their marriage didn't survive all of that. But so we would say, well, I guess that each gets a half a penny now each time someone slides a credit card.
Hey, while I'm thinking of it, I wanted to just put in the name of the song that Prince wrote for you was Telepathy. And so in case they want to look that up and find that, and I encourage you.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you about before we get into the songs and get under the hood of some of these songs was I read a book a couple years ago, and it's really one of my favorite books recently. And because I had a chance to meet Bobby Braddock a couple of times, and his book On the Row, I was totally immersed in it and lived that life vicariously through him. And I know you were really good friends because you were in that book a lot.
We are very good friends. I call him my longtime friend. We go way back.
Yeah.
I met Bobby briefly before I actually moved back to Nashville because I had gone out to California to do a TV show. It was a summer replacement show. But I just really liked Bobby a lot. I had no idea that we would wind up really getting to know each other and becoming such great friends. And, we just, I don't know, we're just great friends. I've always loved his songwriting, and it's just always been such an honor to get to write with Bobby. Bobby and I have some songs that I will cherish forever.
I was working at Lexus of Nashville when I first moved to town. I wasn't quite ready to retire yet, and they all knew I was a radio and songwriter guy. And one of the salesman tapped me on the shoulder and goes, "Hey, do you know you're a songwriter, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You know a songwriter named Bobby Braddock?" And I go, "Yeah." He's
exactly
loving her today. DIVORCE. Why? He goes, he's buying a car from me right now. I said, "Introduce me."
Do you know that the Country Music Association, I believe this is true, that they changed the rules because, each year they have a song of the year, and but that song won it 2 years in a row, and they said, okay, we're just going to have it to where a song can only win it 1 year in a row. Yeah. Because it probably would have won it 3 or 4 years in a row. That's such an iconic song, and especially to have George sing it,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, speaking of George, now that I think about it, Bobby and I wrote a song that George Jones and I did a duet on his Ladies' Choice album. Yeah, it's called Our Love Was Ahead of Its Time. It was so much fun. I loved singing that to them.
I bet that was. I can't believe it. Yeah, 2 years in a row. I think it was 80 and 81, and then it was only done one other time, I believe, and that was Freddie Hart, Easy Lovin'. And I think that was 70.
Was that before or after Bobby's song?
It was 10 years before, 70 and 71.
See, that's what I mean.
Isn't that crazy?
He was the last one to do it 2 years in a row. I don't think they do that anymore.
Absolutely not. Deborah, what I love about Nashville is no matter where you go in this town, you can see amazing talent, amazing songwriters. The talent pool is so deep here. But one of my favorite things to do is go watch the hit songwriters write the songs they wrote in the style they wrote it, Because sometimes it's quite different from the one you hear on the radio, and sometimes it's not, but I love it.
It's really, it is. I was actually telling my mother about that today. I have a song that I wrote, and it is a very dynamic song, the production and everything. And when I play it on the piano, the dynamics are there too, but it's just a whole lot rawer. It doesn't sound, the production really did enhance that song, but I still love the song, but it's sort of a more intimate version of it when I do it on the piano, but it still has some bombastic areas in it.
Now, that's not when I say that it's not a judgment on the song, I mean, the song is great whether it's produced or not. A great song is a great song. But I just love to hear that raw version, like you say.
I do too. You like to hear where everything came from. And that reminds me, us talking about that reminds me of my good friend Don Gant, who was when I first moved here to Nashville and really started, writing songs. I hung out a lot up at Tree Publishing, and that's how I got to know Don Gant. And he was one of these guys. He could hear a song in its roughest form. He could, there's a lot of great songwriters, some of them that really don't have that great of a voice or don't play the guitar that well, but yet they're phenomenal songwriters. And when I was really young and in town, I would see Don in there listening to the song, and he'd go, "This is a hit." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Really?" Because he was hearing through everything that wasn't there. He was hearing through all of that right to the soul of the song, and sure enough, they would demo it, pitch it, and it would get cut and it would be a hit. But I mean, it might not have been presented in that way, but the song was there.
And there are producers that have that gifted ear. They can hear that raw song, and in their head, they're already talking about how, ooh, we got to put a piano here, we got to do this, and they hear it in their mind. It's quite a talent. It's people don't realize the talent behind a great producer. And you've worked with
and a great song man too.
Yeah.
That thing, Don always listened with his heart. He really did. He could hear great song through any presentation.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping that's not missing today, and sometimes I wonder. But I brought all that up because you recently got to record a song that was a big hit for another artist, and it was one of my favorite Patty Loveless songs. And I've played this one thousands of times on the radio in Ohio, and so I want to play this. But I wanted to get from you the story behind "Hurt Me Bad in a Real Good Way."
Okay, yeah, I was so thrilled when Patty cut that. That song, it was just, to me, it was, I had this title that popped in my head, "Hurt Me Bad in a Real Good Way," and I thought, man, that's a cool idea for a song. I want to write that. And so, I think it was right around the time Bobby was having a birthday. I think he was having a birthday lunch at Red Lobster. And I think that at that time, my closest co-writer companion was Rafe Van Hoy, and so we went down there, and I think I might have mentioned it to Bobby. It's been a long time ago, but that's what I recall. And anyway, he was how we're having fun on his birthday, so that nothing ever developed that day, of course. But not long after that, though, I heard Rafe playing like a little guitar lick, which was really beautiful, and I just blurted out, "I would have never found you," and it just kind of took off, and it kind of wrote itself. I mean, that's about all there was to that song. It was just built around an idea that I had, and then that guitar part was so inspiring to me, and it's hard to really recall much more of a story. So the only other story I can put with that song is that I remember really loving it after it was done. I really liked it a lot. And we were in the studio, and I was like, it was getting to be around 5 o'clock in the morning, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I need to sing 'Hurt Me Bad' right now." And Ray was like, "Really?" And I went, "Yes." And he said, well, I mean, all I've got set up in there right now is a drum mic. And I go, "I don't care. I'll sing into that. I'm just feeling it. So we was in there, and that's when I sang my vocal into the drum mic on that.
Oh my goodness.
So
wow.
Yeah. And then, I was kind of collecting songs, trying to sort of put together maybe my next collection for what I was going to do next. And then one morning I got a call from my friend Tony Brown.
My goodness, big time. Yeah, we've talked about Tony on the podcast before. Yeah, played Elvis, Elvis, big producer. Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful Tony. And actually Tony is very responsible for me being on RCA and discovering Baby I Lied, and it's all connected. But anyway, so he called me up and said, "Hey, I just heard a song of yours." And I went, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah, Hurt Me Bad in a Real Good Way." And I went, "Oh, okay." And he said, "Yeah." He goes, "You need to be recording that." And I said, "Well, I would, but I'm just kind of collecting songs right now. I'm not on the label right now. I'm just collecting my songs." And he said, "Well, how would you feel about Patty Loveless recording it?" I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, I love Patty." He goes, "Well, great, because she loves it and she wants you to sing on it with her." So I was like, oh my God. So it was a double treat, I mean.
Yeah, you were singing the background, the BGVs on that song, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a little single line harmony that I sang with Patty, just like on the version that I did. But she had already, when I walked in the studio, they had already recorded the track, and she had already put her vocal down. And I walked in and I went, "God, this sounds so good." And so, I was so honored to get to sing on it with her.
Deborah, if I did know that, I forgot. That's incredible. That's awesome. So you've decided finally to record your own version, and you've just signed with a new record label, and you've released 5 new albums recently?
Yeah, I'm partnered with Star Vista Music. They are awesome, wonderful, wonderful people.
Yep.
And, I wanted to go give them and give us together a good foundation of music to build our relationship on. So, there's 5 collections of music that is with Star Vista. And so, they're digital releases and they're on all your favorite digital platforms. And especially, we're really having fun with YouTube also, too.
Oh.
We love Spotify. We love Pandora. We love all of them. Everybody has a great audience, but we're having kind of fun with YouTube. And they loved Hurt Me Bad in a Real Good Way and was asking me, why don't you put out your version of that? And I said, well, I said, that's funny that you should say that because all throughout the years from back when she recorded it, a lot of my friends and fans, that had kind of gotten to know me and my music, go like, why don't you put out your version of Hurt Me Bad? And I was just never inclined to because I loved her version so much. And
really? Okay.
And plus I sang on it. Yeah, and I sang on it with her. So I thought, well, I'm happy with that. But this year with my new relationship with Star Vista, I thought, you know what? This is a good time to put that out.
Great.
So that's what we did. Actually, Dave, you know what? The version that is the single is that very vintage version of that song, the original version.
I was going to ask that. So that was it, huh? Wow.
That's it. That record is me singing into a kick drum mic. And that's the one we got out there, and it seems to be getting a great response.
That's incredible. Well, let's listen to it right now, and then you can compare it on your own, okay? But I love it. Here it is, Hurt Me Bad in a Real Good Way, by the person who wrote it, our guest, Deborah Allen on the Songwriter Connection podcast.
I would have never found you if he had wanted to stay. Oh, he hurt me bad in a real good way. Well, he opened my eyes to a world beyond that impossible dream I was living on. And I thank my lucky stars each night when you're in my arms and you're holding me tight. I realize what it means to have your true love. I would have never found you if he had wanted to stay. Oh, he hurt me bad in a real good way. And I thank my lucky stars each night when you're in my arms and you're holding me tight. I realize what it means to have your true love. When I look back on my life before, how my heart got shattered with a slamming door, I see it all had to be for the two of us. Oh, the river of tears that flowed from my eyes was only moving me on to this paradise. I would have never found you if he had wanted to stay. Oh, he hurt me bad in a real good way. Yes, he hurt me bad in a real good way.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection with Dave Linehan. Find us on Facebook and YouTube at the Songwriter Connection Podcast, and find Dave at thedaveconnection.com. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
And a very special guest, Deborah Allen, on the phone with us. And we're just having a good time talking about her songs, her music. And if you're listening on YouTube, I want to remind you, this is where I always remind you, please hit the like and subscribe. And that really helps us more than you ever know. And although we're not the video podcast, we might get there someday. I don't know. I'm just having a blast around the dining room table doing this thing. And it's getting more response than I ever dreamed that we'd ever have. But it's there. And I want you to help if you can. Click subscribe. And we publish every Wednesday, 2 a.m. Central Time in the U.S., religiously every Wednesday. And so this one is the first show that we're doing in August. And I'm really happy to have you, Deborah Allen, with us on the phone. Deborah, I want to tell you about my day last Thursday. It was absolutely crazy. And I want to share this with the audience, too. I had to get one of those real IDs, right? My driver's license expired on July 25th, okay? And so we made an appointment. I figured get the renewal and the real at the same time. And you can make appointments here in Tennessee. But the closest appointment that I could find, and this is back in May, the closest appointment I could find was in Paris, Tennessee on July 24th. And so I made one for me and my wife, Patty. And we thought we'd just make the day of it. We'll drive up there.
Yeah.
It will be great. So we drive the 2.5 hours to Paris, and we get there, and they tell us, our computers are down. They've been down since 9 this morning, and we don't expect them up today. So we really can't help you.
That is so funny. Oh, my God.
But I'll tell you, you make the best of the situation, right? We drove through the town of Camden as we were going up there. Mm-hmm. And I said to Patty, this is where Patsy's plane went down. Patsy Cline's plane went down. We have to find that memorial and visit that. And that's what we did. And I took some pictures. It's on my Facebook page if you want to see that. And it really was, we really took a moment to do that. And I'm so glad we did. And the reason,
that's amazing. I would like to do that. I haven't done that. I'm familiar with all that area just for a lot of different reasons, but I haven't ever been there, and I'd like to do that.
They've got a nice little memorial set up. You know, they really do. And I'm really glad that I did it. Now, I mentioned all this because you've got a song that I love called Patsy Cline Crazy. And see, I always try to connect the things, always do. So maybe you can tell us about that one, and we'll play that one.
Well, I'll tell you a funny thing about that song. I get a lot of people that'll say, I can't wait to hear your version of Patsy Cline Crazy. And then I write them back. I go, well, thank you very much. I can't wait for you to hear it, but it's not me singing crazy. It's a song called Patsy Cline Crazy. So anyway, you know what it is? For about 3 years, it was going to be 3 months, and it turned into 3 years. I did a mentoring program at the request of some young friends of mine that I had been a judge on a songwriting contest and performance contest, and they were like, will you please come down to Mississippi? We want our friends to meet you, and will you help some of our friends and all that? And I was like, and then they wanted me to produce some stuff on them too. So I was really excited that they wanted all of that. And I thought, well, of course I'll go down and meet your friends and see where you're from so we can really do a great job on your project. And I get down there, and they were just, so sweet and wonderful. And it really did affect our relationship in the studio. And it was all real positive. But they really were serious about wanting me to sort of work with some of their friends. So
cool.
I thought it was going to be like once a month for 3 months during one summer, and it turned into 3 years.
Wow.
But through that, I wound up meeting a lot of incredible people. I would say it didn't start out as a songwriting thing. It was a performance thing. But at the end of the 3 month segment, I went, well, it was really nice seeing y'all. I've really had a great time. But I got to get back and work on all of my stuff. I won't be coming back for, we won't be doing this anymore. They were like, no, you got to stay. Please stay. And I said, well, look, it's the only one that I really want to stay. I said, because, I would stay and do more if there was any interest in songwriting. But I just don't know that everybody's going to remember Walk This Way or Look That Way, or, was a really fun summer thing to do, but it turned into like a little songwriting camp.
Wow.
And I worked with a lot of great people. One of the young artists that I worked with, her name is Skylar Lane, and she went to top 5 on American Idol.
Wow.
And Lainey Wilson. I wrote a couple of songs with her early on.
Lainey Wilson. Wow.
Yeah, she lived that was kind of at the end of the 3 years. She wanted to come by, and we had fun, and I adore her very much.
I do too. Amazing. Love what she's doing.
And so one of the young girls, when she was 18, she was coming up to go to Belmont, and her daddy wanted to open an office and wanted me to have an office in there and continue to help his daughter. And her daughter, his daughter was named Margaret Phillips. So I was really into that because I was producing music on her and kind of pitching her around town and everything too.
I noticed her name on a lot of the credits of your songs.
Yeah, exactly.
She wrote a lot.
Because
yeah,
we got on a real roll with that. Eventually, I think she decided that she didn't really want to go in the more country direction. She wanted to do more pop or rock stuff. So, and I don't know, people at that age, they sometimes change their minds, and that's fine. But in the meantime, it was really a great creative time, and in fact, the way that Patsy Cline Crazy got started was we were at the office one day, and I was like, it would be so neat to take a lot of great country titles and great iconic lines from songs and sort of sew them together. And so that's how we wound up with Patsy Cline Crazy. And it was really incredible. And I enjoyed it too, because it refreshed my memory on a lot of great songs that, you don't think about every day, but when you're writing a song and the story's starting to unfold, you go, what song title could I use to move this story forward? We had a blast writing it. And it's called Patsy Cline Crazy.
We're going to play it here in just a little bit, but I think there's a really good songwriting prompt for people there, Deborah, that I often challenge folks. And why don't you try to take a bunch of different song titles and see if you can work them into a story and a brand new song. My friend Mark Allen Barnett and Mark Monroe did that recently with a song called "I'm Riding with Hank." I'm sorry, not Hank. It was Neil. I'm sorry. It was a tribute to Neil Diamond, and they weaved all of these Neil Diamond songs into this amazing story. Hanging with Neil. I knew I'd get that wrong. It's "I'm Hanging with Neil" is the song by Mark, and they're recording it right now, so we'll be able to hear that soon.
I love him. He's such a great guy. We've been friends for a long time too.
Yeah,
I know he's been really good in helping people along the way too. And really honestly, one of the reasons that I had such a heart for doing that, once they kept wanting me to stay there for a little longer and stay involved, was because I wouldn't even be a songwriter if one of the greatest songwriters on the planet hadn't come to see me sing at Spence Manor one afternoon, because I used to hang out over at Waylon Jennings' office all the time. And my best friend was Marie Barrett, and John Hartford used to come by all the time. And Marie and John. Yeah, and John and Marie wound up getting married. And, Kyle Lenning was the engineer at the studio there. It was just really incredible. And so I had gotten this job singing at the Spence Manor, and Shell had come by, and I was like, and I'd been working at Opryland, and I'd just gotten back from Russia on the State Department tour with Tennessee Ernie Ford. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't think, I loved Opryland, but I didn't think I should just keep working there forever, because I felt like I needed to follow a more artist direction, and I didn't know how it was going to take shape. But you know what? I think God always has a plan in your life. And so Shell came in the office that day, and I said, hey, will you come over and hear me sing at the Spence Manor? I'm kind of at a crossroads. I don't know what I'm going to do. So he came over and heard me sing, and he was like, well, I think you got a great voice. And, of course, Shel Silverstein wrote A Boy Named Sue, a cover of Rolling Stone, just to mention a couple.
One of my all-time favorite writers. Amazing. Yeah.
Yes, I love Shel. So anyway, when I came off the stage and I sat by him, he said, I think you got a really, really good voice. And I said, thank you. And I thought, oh, boy, I'm going to get discovered here. he said, well, there's a lot of great songwriters here. And I got a lot of great singers here in Nashville. And so I was like, he's going to, tell me to keep my day job. But you know what? He went on to do, he said, have you ever thought about writing songs? And I was like, well, not really. I've written some poems, but no songs. He said, I think I was thinking about writing songs, a song, if you start writing songs, you can write your own direction, and that'll set you apart. And then,
great advice, great advice.
Yeah. He gave me some great advice. He said, a song is something you can keep with you always. And then he said, besides, sun doesn't shine on the same dog's back every day. And I thought, that's true. Even if I were a successful artist, you can't have a number one song every single week, every single day, but you can write a song all the time. And then last thing he said, he goes, and besides, it'll keep you from going crazy. And I always look back on that and I laugh because I think, well, I don't know about that part coming true or not, but I have a lot of fun with it. And if you really actually, since you picked up on some of the advice he gave to me, one of the strongest piece of advice he gave to me, I told him, I said, okay, I'll write a couple of things and I'll come back and play them for you. I'll sing them to you and see what you think. And when I did that, he goes, I think you got away with words. And I said, really? He said, yeah. I went, okay, all right, I'm going to do it. And he said, but now listen. He said, listen, write. This is his advice. He said, write a lot. He said, because you might write 9 really good songs, but that 10th song, that might be your great song.
How about that?
He said, you got to write a lot and keep writing. So, that's why I guess I've wound up with so many songs. I took that advice to heart. And, that's just the way it is. I'm so thankful for Shell. And like I said, and then that's what also, when people started asking me for, advice and help, I was like, gosh, I've got to do this because, Shell did it for me. And so I want to pass that along.
Shell and Deborah, thanks for that advice. That's awesome. And that's very helpful to our audience, I'm sure. And with that, let's listen to Patsy Cline Crazy on Songwriter Connection.
All right.
He stopped loving me today, though I stood by my man. Guess I'll grab another quarter and call someone who gives a damn. Traded a big piece of my heart for a pawn shop golden ring. It's way past crying time, 'cause even though I walked the line, he left me with this broken wing. Country songs playing all night long, like a jukebox in my mind. Drowning all my sorrows in old sweet dreams and honky-tonk wine. Remembering all those times behind closed doors when he called me baby, baby. Now I'm blue and walking the floors, Patsy Cline crazy. Don't know why, baby, why I care about your careless love. I'd trade all my tomorrows for just one more sweet, tender touch. I pray to the keeper of the stars, from blue eyes crying in the rain,
Deborah Allen is my guest on the Songwriter Connection. We just heard Patsy Cline Crazy and challenged you with a with a little prompt. And when you get these, if you follow them and you want to share them with me, please do. You can find me out there. I'm everywhere. I'm on all the socials, and so is the podcast. So share it with us if you will. Love to hear your experiences. Deborah Allen, so good to have you with us. It all started. You're from Memphis?
Yes, I was born and raised in Memphis, and as a matter of fact, I was born in the very same hospital that my mother was born in. We were both born in the Methodist Hospital, and she, as you mentioned earlier in the show, is celebrating her 100th year.
Yeah.
We're celebrating her at the Grand Ole Opry on August the 21st, and then her real birth date we're celebrating at the beautiful historic Franklin Theater on August the 23rd, and it's going to be so much fun. I want everybody to come.
I wish you would all come. This is the reason why we wanted to put this show on today, to give you time to get tickets to go to that show. It's going to be an amazing show. So
just go to franklintheater.com. Franklin Theater, theater, like Theatre, theater.com.
Ironically enough, the show that we aired last week features the Four Lads of Liverpool, or Four Lads from Liverpool, which is also going to be at that theater coming up on August 14th. And if you're a Beatles fan and you missed that episode, you want to tune that in, because go back and listen. It's filled with all kinds of great Beatles trivia and things. So we'll just plug that right there. Thank you for letting me do that, Deborah.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear about that. And that's wonderful. And the Franklin Theater is so diverse. It's great for watching movies. It's great for performance. It's great for songwriters. They do all kinds of great things there. And it's our whole community came together. The Heritage Foundation, and put all the community of Williamson County put in a lot of money to bring it up to where it's at.
It's a beautiful theater. It really is a great place for a show. So, of course, is this true? They say you can take the girl out of Memphis, but you can't take Memphis out of the girl. Is that true?
That's very true. I am definitely. In fact, one of the albums that's on Star Vista is my album called The Memphis Princess.
Yeah.
And I actually, and I wrote a lot of those songs with my good friend who's no longer with us, unfortunately, because I miss him every day. His name is Teeny Hodges. Maven Teeny Hodges. He wrote Love and Happiness, Take Me to the River.
And Take Me to the River. What a song.
Yeah, and he was just so much fun. I just miss him very, very much. But, I am so glad, that Star Vista has taken charge of that one and getting it out there and sending it around the world, because, it's got a lot of my Memphis roots in it, too. That and, my Delta Dreamland album, which is, been around for a while, too, but it's got a lot of my Memphis roots in it with the title track, Delta Dreamland itself.
I've often seen you referred to as a Delta singer. Is that? I don't think I've ever heard that before.
There is definitely that personality in my music. It depends on the song. To me, songs bring out different vocabulary, each different song, and I love a lot of different styles of music. As you could tell with Patsy Cline Crazy, I love super country, but I love real Delta. I love real R&B. I love jazz. And it's just amazing to me that
you did a jazz album, right? Didn't you do a jazz album? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's part of my Star Vista collection too. It's called Adrian Rose. She actually, she is sort of an alter ego, and I wrote the title track of the album for her, and she actually opened for me at the Nashville Symphony, 2 nights at the Nashville Symphony.
How cool.
It was so very much fun, but I
love that.
Yeah, so music dictates a language and a vocabulary, but also I've learned throughout the years and just getting to know myself musically that different songs bring out different music, and the different music brings out different textures and emotions in my voice. So a lot of times it does tap into my, Delta side.
Wow. It's so on this podcast, many times I've said it, I hate genres. I love artists that can span the genres, and you're one of them. I mean, pop, adult contemporary, country, jazz even. And it's just, that's amazing. And I think that's a true star that can do that. You do it all.
Well, thank you. Thank you. The title of her album is called Nothing But Pearls, and that's the one that I wrote. The rest of them are a collection of jazz classics like kind of along the lines of Billie Holiday or Ella Fitzgerald. And actually, if you ever get a hard copy of that album or CD, she actually has her bio on the liner notes in there. So pretty good story.
I have to find that. I started in jazz radio way back. I'm going to tell you how long.
You've got that. You've got that sound to your voice. I've been trying to find the perfect moment to say I absolutely love your voice.
Oh, thank you.
And that's it. Now look, right before then you were going, yeah, I used to be in jazz, and I'd say, I love your voice. You go, oh, thank you.
I'm Deborah Allen crazy right now, folks.
I love you, Dave.
I kind of lost my track of thought there for a second.
Now let's see. Where were we?
Where in the heck were we? I'm lost.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to ask you about. I read a story that you sat down next to Roy Orbison one day and just introduced yourself. Do you have a Roy Orbison story for us?
I got one, and I have told it a lot, but so your listeners might have heard it, but it is a true story, and so it's always going to be the same, pretty much. But I used to work at the IHOP, which was at the top of Music Row. I don't know if you were here then.
I wasn't.
Back at 21st Avenue, where 21st Avenue meets Demonbreun, and that was where the IHOP was. Now it's a parking lot.
IHOP,
but yeah, it used to be right next to Lums. I started out at Lums, but I didn't really enjoy working there that much. It was okay, but I thought if I'm going to be a waitress, I'm going to work for somewhere I really like food. So I like the breakfast foods over there. So I got a job at the IHOP, and then I really wasn't the best waitress in the world, but I loved all the people that worked there. So I'd go there and eat by myself, and would be fine. And
being on Music Row, I can imagine all these stars coming in, after writing.
There were,
yeah,
there were stars. There were. Stars would come in, songwriters would come in, producers would come in, record executives would come in. I even met a professional whistler there one time. He was a character. But I was sitting there one morning having my breakfast, and I look across the restaurant in a booth, and I see this guy with pitch black hair with the black sunglasses on, and then I saw this guy with salt and peppered hair. I saw his back, and I said to myself, now, look, I was probably about 18, okay, or maybe 19 at the most. And I was like, oh, man, those guys they've got to be in the music business. Okay, I'm just going to walk over and say hello and introduce myself. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, here we go. So I stand up. I had on a really cute little red print dress. My fingernails were like a dark red. And I walk over there, and I stand at the end of their booth, and I stand there and I say, excuse me, but are y'all in the insurance business? They look at me so funny. They go, no, darling, we're in the music business. That's not in that booth. I said, listen, that's what I was thinking. I'm a singer, and I'm trying to get started. Well, I just was wondering if you had any advice. So guess who I was sitting there with? I was sitting there with Roy Orbison and Joe Melson, who Joe's a great writer, too. He wrote Crying and also many great songs. And so, I thought, and looking back, I was going, man, I'm lucky that they didn't kick me out of that booth and say, like, hey, our pancakes are getting cold. But they didn't. But what happened was a couple of weeks later, I finally got a phone at my apartment on Music Row. And so I went down to Astra, and I walked in and I said, oh, I finally got a phone. And they went, oh, we're so glad to see you. Guess who's been trying to get in touch with you? And that's great. What's your new number? And I gave it to them. I said, who's trying to get in touch with me? She says, Joe Melson. He wants you to come and sing on a couple of things of Roy Orbison. I went, are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Wow. And so, I did that. But they weren't like his big famous tracks. But what it was on a compilation album of, remember, those records that, they would compile records together, and they were like budget records.
Right.
It was something like that.
Was that like the K-Tels? It was. It was like a K-Tel thing. And guess what? So I got paid $87.50 per song. Righteous bucks.
I thought, yeah.
For a girl working at
wow.
IHOP back then, that was good. Yeah.
I know. That's what I thought.
That's great.
But that's a story that goes around. But, sometimes when you're living life, you don't think about just how charmed it is and how God is directing your life. But
right.
when you look back, you look at all the crossroads in your life that you couldn't have possibly gone, I think I'll try to get in touch with Roy Orbison and see if I can sing up something of his. No, or Joe Melson, that just wouldn't happen. You have to live your life to be able to let God help you with your life.
Yeah, I agree. Everything is meant to happen, I think. And I look back at my life.
It is.
And I try not to regret anything because everything that I did, every decision I made led me to where I am right now. And I love where I'm at right now. I really do.
I know. Even when people say no to you and you get so disappointed sometimes.
Yeah.
And, or somebody passes on a song of yours and you're like, don't take it personally. I go, what do you mean don't take it personally? This is my life.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Mm-hmm.
What it does, it's probably it's going to land in the lap of someone else, or it's going to make you work harder, and it'll either make you quit or stick with it,
I got you. I agree 100%. Well, Deborah, it's so great talking to you. We're running out of time. I have time for one more song, and I'll play it out. And thank you for your time right up front before we play it. The song I want to play is All or Nothing at All. I was listening to that this morning. It's just a gorgeous song. What can you tell us about that?
Well, that song, what I really love about that song, I love the dynamics of that song. It was it's a vocal kind of it's got so many dynamics in it in some unexpected places. That's what I love about it. The song itself, the way it came together and everything. But a fun story about that song is if you go watch the video on YouTube, I was driving down the road one day up on Highway 96, and my husband, Raymond Hicks, works with Ray Stevens. And so I was talking to Raymond, and Raymond was Mel Tillis' first tour manager, and he worked with the mighty Oak Ridge Boys for all those years. He's worked with tons of people. And so he was heading over to Ray's, and I was just driving down 96, and I was heading up to a stoplight, and I looked over to my left, and Raymond was up on my speakerphone in the car. I went, oh my gosh, Raymond, I have just seen the most beautiful car. And he goes, well, what kind is it? And I said, it's a Cadillac. He goes, well, what year is it? I said, I don't know. So I rolled my window down, and it was kind of a hot day, and I rolled the window down, and this guy had his window down, and I said, I love your car, like that. And he says, thank you. And I said, how much is it? I want it. He goes, well, it'll cost you a lot of beans for you to buy this car. And I said, well, how much? And he said, $100,000. And I went, oh. I said, well, look, I'm sure it's worth every penny of it. It is really beautiful. And the light, I said, but I would love to have it in my new video. And he goes, okay, well, the light changes. And he pulls off. He's going down the road. So I went, oh my gosh. So I pull up beside him. We come to another stoplight. I said, no, I'm not kidding. I would love, if you wouldn't mind, I would absolutely love to have your car in my video. And he goes, okay. I said, well, and then the light starts changing. And I'm like, how are we going to stay in touch? He goes, pull into this neighborhood up here on the right. So we pulled into a neighborhood and got out, and it was so much fun, and I just love that story. That's just another thing.
I do too. I love that story too. I did a video recently called for my song "Baby I'm Gone," which was it's a weird story. It was my first big Nashville cut, and it wasn't all that good, but it was Chancey Williams cut it in the Younger Brothers, and so finally I got my own version of it, and we wanted to do a video, and the first line is I could fix up my old rusted truck. So on Facebook, for the heck of it, I said, anybody got an old rusted truck we can borrow? And this gal from outside of Atlanta says yes. My dad has this 56 Chevy, and she sends me a picture of it. It was beautiful. The wheels on it would knock you out, and he had a Corvette engine in it, but it had the patina rust and all the stuff. So it looked like, and she said, we'll trail it up to be in your video. And they did. It was absolutely incredible.
Wow. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. God things. Yeah.
You you just gotta get out there and be in. Yeah, it is God things, and it's like it's not going to happen sitting at home wishing for it. You just got to get out there and live your life, and when you see a magical moment, just kind of grasp it.
Just like you and Roy Orbison there. That was fantastic. Listen,
That's right.
I want to remind folks that you've got two big shows coming up. The first is the 21st at the Grand Ole Opry, the Opry Classic shows. Larry Gatlin, lots of big stars in there as well. And we're celebrating your mom's birthday. What's your mom's name? What is your mom's name, Deb?
My mother's name is, her maiden name was Rosetta Posey. Isn't that beautiful?
I love that name.
Rosetta Posey. She's sitting right here beside me in my car. I'm talking to my car. And she is just as beautiful today as ever. Mother, say hello.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, hello. Tell her I said hello. I love her.
I will. And listen, and talking about magical moments, we are going to have fun at the Grand Ole Opry. And I'm glad that to know, I didn't know Larry was going to be there that night, but that makes me so happy because I love Larry. He's one of my dear friends, so I know he'll be excited to have Mother there. And then, of course, you were about to talk about the Franklin Theater, too.
On your mom's birthday, the 23rd, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. On the 23rd, we'll be having a lot of music, a lot of songs, and a lot of celebration at the Franklin Theater. And you can go to franklintheater.com. There's a few seats left, but we are real excited to see how the turnout's already, how it's turnout's there, so we're excited about that. Just can't wait to see y'all there.
It's going to be a blast. Deborah, thank you for taking the time to be on our show, Songwriter Connection, and I look forward to seeing you down the line. I've wanted to meet you for a long time, so it's just a pleasure to talk to you. Yeah.
Well, look, it's great. It's so much fun to be phone buddies, but we've got to hang out around your table sometime, too.
You betcha. Next time, for sure. Absolutely.
That sounds great.
And we'll take you out with All or Nothing at All. And thank you for joining us on the Songwriter Connection podcast. Like I always say, right on.
Don't say a word if you don't mean it. I can tell by the way my heart's pounding, I'm bound to believe it. Don't touch me if you don't love me. Don't lead me on, just leave me alone. Please let me go before I'm too far gone. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby, if I'm gonna fall, I want it all or nothing at all. 'Cause baby
We hope you enjoyed this intimate glimpse into the world of songwriting and found inspiration in the stories shared by our talented guests. Remember, the magic of music lies not only in the notes and chords, but in the emotions and experiences woven into every lyric. Until next time, keep listening, keep creating, and keep the melodies alive.